Hey y'all, this is Timeka, the face behind Heyyy HR, and what we're going to talk about today is something we all should always be focused on: benefits. I like to call it total reward, and I definitely don't want to call it just your compensation package, because you should be looking for more than just compensation, especially as you grow in your career. So we're going to talk all about benefits. If you want to know more of what's included in the total rewards package, what should we look at, what are federally regulated, what are things we can just toss in to make employees feel happy, then definitely keep watching. Now y'all know I cannot start this video without talking about compensation, your salary, your paycheck. I don't care if you're paid on a daily basis, a weekly basis, a monthly basis, even every 2 weeks, or even annual basis. I hope ain't nobody getting paid annually. I mean, that check gotta be nice, and you gotta be really good with budgeting if you're getting paid once a year. So compensation is made to employees in exchange for their service or their labor. It's called wages, a salary, or payroll. It is that hourly rate, that annual rate. It's the rate that most people get worried about negotiating for. It's the rate that can change on a regular basis. Like if your company does performance reviews or merit increases or what have you, then guess what? That's your compensation. For most people, it is like a one-time salary. For certain positions, like sales positions, that typically always comes with you getting commission or bonuses. So most people will look at that holistically and call it like your on-target earnings or your full compensation package or what have you, because it's not just your compensation or your salary or your wages. It's also like you're being paid for the sales that you bring in as well. Now, more benefits that are typically common or that you typically see in a benefits package is paid time off, holiday time off, bereavement time off, maternity time off, family time off, paternity time off, jury duty time off. Medical and dental visions are pretty much your regular benefits. You know, it's only federally mandated in the U.S. to give medical benefits, not necessarily your dental or your vision or anything else like short-term or long-term disability. So short-term, long-term disability insurance is something that's included in the benefits package, as well as just life insurance. Most times that comes in the form of AD&D, which is your accidental death and dismemberment insurance. Sometimes it's just regular insurance that doesn't come with accidental death and dismemberment. And let's not forget things like retirement preparation, like 401k, IRA contributions, any type of retirement contributions. You can also get something like HSAs or FSAs. So your HSAs or your health savings account that only comes with your high deductible health plans. And then your FSA are the plans that you can get outside of the high deductible health plan. So most times that's the one I go for, because me and my daughter are pretty healthy. So we hardly ever have to go to the doctor. So if we are paying a high amount, because high deductible means your deductible is high, then normally by then I've already have enough money on my HSA to take care of that cost, or I will recoup that cost as money goes onto my HSA card. FSA is a little bit different. It's called flexible spending account. It's not the health savings account. It's the flexible spending account. The company will upfront you money already, and then they will have you pay that back out of payments in your paycheck. So a lot of times people use that for dependent care. They'll use that in the same way that they use an HSA. The only difference is at the end of the year, that money's gone. With the HSA, that money continues to roll. It continues to grow. It's the savings account. It's one where if you don't use all of the money on health care benefits or health related costs or dental or vision costs, you can roll it into a 401k and add it to your retirement, and it's tax deductible. FSAs are a little bit different, where you use it or you lose it. It's a loan. You're supposed to pay it back by the end of the year. You already paid all of that back. And so you can't roll those benefits over or use them in a new benefit year. Now, those are your traditional benefits that you normally see at every organization. Now, there are little differences, because I do personally look for companies that will pay the premiums for my short-term and long-term disability. I don't really want to pay premiums on that. It changes. It fluctuates depending on my salary, depending on my age. So I like when a company pays for that. For HSA and FSA, I already told you guys I prefer the HSA, but I also primarily like when companies give money into my HSA or my FSA. A lot of companies will give you money into that so that you're not paying for the whole thing. So I like that. Or they will match like whatever you give, or they'll have a cap out based on if you're on an individual insurance or if you have a family insurance. And so I personally look for those things instead of just seeing if you have it. Like if you have it, it's automatic. If you don't have it, I'm a little iffy because I'm primarily going to look for a higher salary so that I can balance those costs. Second level benefits are bonuses or commissions. Now, again, for sales, that's kind of included in compensation. Outside of sales positions, when you start getting more into like your leadership roles or companies that are publicly traded, then most times they'll give like employee stock purchases, bonuses, and commission. Retirement contributions. Retirement contributions could be, and I already told you guys about the 401k and the IRA. So typically you'll get 401k contributions and the company will match you to a certain amount. I'm gonna tell y'all hands down, if your company matched 2%, 3%, 5%, 6%, that should be the minimum that you're contributing. Otherwise you're missing money. With a 401k or retirement plan, that means that, okay, if I give 1%, my company gives 1%. If I give 2%, my company gives 2%. If I give 5%, my company gives 5%. They're giving their money into my retirement. And so if I know that my company does a max of 5% and I'm only giving 3%, there's 2% out there that they're not giving me that they would give me if I just went up to 5%. So we can do a whole video on 401k. I think since now we're in a new generation where we're really not dependent on Social Security as much as baby boomers or previous generations, then people are paying way more attention to their 401k contributions. And you definitely should make sure that you talk with someone who is a financial specialist. That's their full-time profession. Do not depend on HR for that. Most times HR is going to send you out to their third party that handles that for us. Legally, there should always be a third party that's handling that for you. You can talk with that person and say, hey, do I want a conservative, aggressive, that type of thing. I'm gonna get off my 401k spiel. There are some benefits that are state and federally mandated in the US. There's some just what they call state or federal pay requirements. So it protects employees from bad employment practices that can negatively affect their paycheck. All states in the United States have a minimum wage amount, which means they can't pay you any lower than what that minimum wage is. So for some states, it's $10 an hour. Some states, it's $15 an hour. Whatever it is, that state cannot pay anyone in their organization lower than that amount. And then you have the Fair Labor Standards Act that requires companies to pay overtime. So whenever you're an hourly employee, which means you are what we would call non-exempt. Now, if you're exempt, this doesn't apply to you. Companies can pay you in like comp time or whatever. But if you're an hourly employee, you get paid by the hour, then you start working over the 40 hours, because 40 hours is what we consider full time. If you start working over 40 hours, then your company is required to pay you overtime. Traditionally, that's time and a half. So you get paid more money for working more than a traditional 40-hour week. What I absolutely love about the FLSA is that it provides to you what an employee needs or should be to be exempt versus non-exempt. And so I'm gonna tell you guys, when I first started my career as an HR assistant, all of that just seemed like rubbish to me. It was so confusing. I was like, what? Exempt, non-exempt, I would get it so confused. And I literally sat on the FLSA website and like kept reading until I saw it. And I started Googling to see what other companies were going through. I started going to different law events with employment law attorneys, and they would talk about exempt versus non-exempt. And that was just like something I wanted to get comfortable with and to learn more. So those are some resources. If you're like, Timeka, this whole video is all the way over my head, then you definitely can dig into some of these resources and just do like a Google search or check out an employment law attorney's website. Get on their newsletter, attend their events, join into different social groups so that you can start hearing what other seasoned professionals are saying when it talks about benefits, state mandated benefits, federally mandated benefits, minimum wage, overtime, exempt versus non-exempt, Fair Labor Standards Act, all those things. Definitely get yourself versed in those areas. It's going to be very, very pivotal in your career as you go through and you start working in HR, working in different parts of HR, learning how to handle different issues. And so definitely take your time to learn those areas. It can be confusing if you don't learn the basics. If this is your first time watching a Heyyy HR video, then I hope that I provided enough value where you feel comfortable subscribing. I ask that you subscribe. If you don't subscribe, at least hit the like button. It definitely really helps my channel. For those of you who are returning, I appreciate you returning. I hope that this video gave you just as much value as any of the ones in the past. And I just cannot wait to see you all on the next video.